Hello and welcome to Story Time with
With Crazy Jake?
No.
Deep cut.
Who's Crazy Jake?
Storytime with Crazy Jake was a feature of my childhood.
Oh.
It was just a made-up game my brother and I would do.
Oh, it's not even
It's
like
Storytime with Crazy Jake!
That's fair.
Most of the time it just consisted of us saying that phrase.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And with that excellent segue,
We are here to talk about our top 10 Beatles songs because we love talking about music. We need fans who like the stuff that we like.
deep fans.
The deep fans.
To show up.
But yeah, we're just gonna do like a top 10 of all our favorite songs and our favorite bands and talk about it. So this is top 10 Beatles.
Top 10 Beatles.
It's a podcast for you to fall asleep to, and because every time I try being structured, it all falls apart. Let's just chat about our love of the Beatles in a formatted list, a la Jenny Nicholson. So.
Shall I go first?
Yeah, hit me with your number one.
All right, my number. Wait, we're going down.
Oh.
Or just are these in no particular order?
Are yours in no particular
They
order?
are kind of in no particular order.
No particular order. Mine are in order of John Paul George, John Paul George, John Paul George, Ringo.
Freight elevator.
I don't think that's the Beatles. I think Freight Elevator is Chicago.
That's a new song we've written.
Freight Elevator.
This is how we write music. All right, so in no particular order,
Okay.
I will say one of my favorite John Lennon tracks. Freight.
I still don't
And like
remember
it turns
that
out
one.
we are in a noisy place. I'm Only Sleeping, which is one of my favorite tracks from
An excellent pick.
Revolver.
An excellent pick.
Yes, I do. It's got a cool new music video. I don't know if you knew that. You know
They're
how
doing that now.
Yeah, they did like old artists will be like, there was a music video after all.
Yeah. I think they did that
Commissioned
with,
in 2021, you know.
Yeah, they did that with Pink Floyd a bunch, Led Zeppelin a bunch. They did that with the George Harrison solo catalog.
There's a few Beach Boys. I think there's like a Heroes and Villains animatic.
I can't wait till they do that with t-shirts and they realize that they're losing t-shirt money because old band t-shirts are still not as cool as how cool graphic design has gotten. So I want someone, I need my Lou Reed t-shirt, I need my Beatles t-shirt. No, I guess there's enough cool Beatles t-shirts out there. It's just, you can't wear a Beatles t-shirt. That's ridiculous.
It's never been done.
Well, yeah, it's never, hey, little kids from Target, or go to Target and get a Beatles t-shirt. It's fine, I love the Beatles promotion. But, we work with kids, it's like, you're like, oh, I want to talk to about the Beatles with you, and they're like, what are you talking about? You're like,
but back to I'm Only Sleeping.
Yes.
Which is a lean, mean
Yeah.
sort of folk rock track. It's got like this weird,
but with an edge,
atmosphere to it. It's got like this lo-fi, like they're just banging on the drums, playing acoustic guitars.
with the first reverse guitar ever.
They put it in backwards, and we're like, sounds better that way.
And it feels like, because John Lennon is such a great frontman, and that's kind of what I'm going to get into with my list, is that I think he gives a really good performance on that. I think a lot of his energy was in that.
Yeah, and there's some nice little backup harmonies.
Very well
that sort of help to give it that because it's not like a sleep. It's just like I'm just smacking these drums. It's not like, oh, I'm sleeping.
Right.
But then these like dream-like little harmonies come in the back, and it's like, oh, I see. We're in like
you see it on Revolution 9,
thing.
where he has an incredible ability to capture a mood with sound and like with pastiche, and that's really kind of what I imagine London was like at the time, feeling very modern, but also feeling very sleepy. And boy, that is a great song. That's a tough song. It was huge when it came out. I remember, the first time I heard that song, it was the Vines cover on the I Am Sam soundtrack when I was little. And that's a good cover. It's hard to do good covers.
I don't know if I know that.
We're good.
My dad, I once mentioned it to my dad, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I realized that I'm like post having to deal with like the American albums.
Right.
And he's like, "What about Beatles 2?" And I'm like, "What?" It's right on there on Revolver, and he's like, "Not in America." You know?
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was on some other thing.
Yeah.
You know, they were chopping them up.
Yeah.
Because they knew better than the Beatles.
To anyone who's just getting into the Beatles, listen to the British releases.
Yes, the British canonical releases.
The accurate.
They're the ones on Spotify. So don't worry about it.
I use Apple Music, so.
So do I.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, let's get a poll rolling in the comics.
One day.
Yeah.
I would love, because I envy how other YouTubers, now that we're famous YouTubers, no, they just like talk with the chat, and I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. They're like
I honestly don't. It's like I feel like they just have to, because you see those chats and it's just like going a mile a minute. So they must just go like, pick one.
Well, I think they pick the ones who are in their Patreon that they know.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that.
Because it's like, I would love to like
donation Patreon system. It's a little less chaotic.
I mean, it's helpful if you want to pay our rent on this studio. That would be much obliged.
Yeah. So what's your, in no particular order?
So
number one.
In no particular order, but number one, because it's, I think, very representative of the Beatles, and obviously what they became later. They became huge and expansive. But one song that I love these days and always put on is "All I've Gotta Do" by Mr. John Lennon, and just a classic. Young performance, classic.
That's there. I'm a little less versed on.
That's the thing.
Beatles.
I just got into
Beatles.
early Beatles like a lot, and then middle Beatles, because I feel like middle Beatles you listen to when you're younger, because you get told Sgt. Pepper, Revolver when you're a kid.
Yes, you definitely do.
And so I listened to those a lot when I was a kid, and then when I was like 25 or something, I would listen to the later albums a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm old, I listen to the early albums and I go like, these songs, and it's truly incredible how, I keep saying this to you, how good Lennon was at writing to commission, writing to like, oh, I'm doing this style of song, and turning all these old rock and roll ballads and all these blues numbers and combining them into like pop music essentially. So, all I've gotta do.
Well, we don't have the rights.
Oh.
I'm just, I doubt they'll be able to.
It's like if I sing it out of key enough.
Yeah.
But it's a whiplash of a song. It's very straightforward. It's got those harmonies. It's just classic Beatles, and it sets a template for what the Beatles are gonna do for years to come. Back when John Lennon was
become
the Beatles.
The Beatles.
All we've gotta do. But
yeah, he's so selfish.
And then that's back when
John Lennon.
Paul McCartney isn't as confident as a songwriter, so he's still really arranging Lennon's stuff, and I mean you can kind of tell.
George Martin is also.
I mean, we could do a whole
boys.
video on George Martin, because George Martin is.
I wear a suit, but I like to mess with tape.
I need to just wear a suit every day. He really pulls off an Ian Fleming thing when you see him in Best Movie Ever, Get Back. But anyway, that's
Best Movie Ever, Get Back?
Right?
Are these the best movies?
I just think it's cool Peter Jackson has a trilogy, a perfect trilogy of narrative films and a perfect trilogy of documentaries. So what's the third trilogy? It's my big Peter Jackson
It's
question.
The Hobbit.
No. I refute that.
It's a perfect, terrible experience.
I like this theory. I like this theory.
Yeah, he made the good one. He made the documentary. He made the bad one.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to, unless he comes up with a third trilogy, that's gonna have to enter my viewing. Oh, you guys want to watch how terrible The Hobbit is? But number 2 for Sam.
Yeah, let me go to my number 2, and these are just songs I thought of. So this is Tomorrow Never Knows.
Oh, you're picking some good ones,
Imagine that.
That's a good one.
One of my favorite Mad Men scenes.
They paid out for that one.
Oh my god, that
they
was
paid
so
money
good.
for that.
Yeah, like, and you know how they remat, like when like an old song's in a movie, it sounds like way better.
Yeah.
Some studio wizardry, and then that's never released.
And it's playing on the movie speakers.
And you're like, oh yeah, and the speakers are amazing and giant, and the bass is like coming through. And that they did that for that scene, and then he just doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. Turns it off.
You're fucking square.
Yeah, Don literally just got into "I Want to Hold Your Hand." There's that scene where he's whistling it in the car.
Oh, that's so fun. I missed that.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
so
and Megan teases him she was like, I thought you said you didn't like the Beatles. And he was like, I like this one.
Okay. That's ringing a bell.
But it's like, at that point, they've been on the radio.
There's the early scene where he gets Sally the 45, get some Beatles 45s for the kids.
Yeah.
It's just like candy or something.
Yeah. It'll be gone in a moment. Don't worry. Yeah. They won't radically change pop music or anything. Never underestimate the buying power of young people.
Yeah. But Tomorrow Never Knows. I think it's the moment where the Beatles became like the Beatles.
I like that. It's when they changed into the...
I think there's like you can argue there's like the George Harrison song on Revolver 2.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. But it's the sort of Indian music. Yes. And it's like, oh, this is a big change.
Yeah.
But he's just doing a genre. He's just like, I've discovered this.
But yeah, you're right.
And this is like
because it's got that Ringo. It's like a perfect example of like the whole band. You love those songs. Everyone in the Beatles fandom loves those songs when all the Beatles are working at the same level and on the same mission, and Ringo comes in with that drum beat.
Yes.
Paul McCartney's never not on point. If he's with friends, he's one of those guys like on a basketball team who's like all assists, like gets the other guys going, and if he's playing with another guy, he's not gonna have a bad game. Like, and then and then George Martin's doing his thing. Like that's a full ass punch. That's a 5-finger punch right there.
Like tape swivels or whatever you call. I don't know what they are, but that's a great track.
Clean.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What's your number in no particular order?
In no
number
particular
2.
order. So
is this movie gonna be this feature length film we're making right now? Is this gonna be like 3 hours long?
I guess so. I mean, like I said, fall asleep to this. Our voices are very soothing. So number 2, speaking of Mr. McCartney and how sometimes his lyrics aren't as insightful or bold. Not that he does a bad job. When he does a good job, he does a real good job. And he's not afraid to talk about things that are quaint. Like, I like Slice of Life. But I think we can all agree that the moment where he really nailed it on the Beatles catalog was when he wrote "You Never Give Me Your Money." And even though it's just a snippet...
You only give me your funny paper.
You only give me your funny paper. And it incited this whole medley, and then it comes back around, and I think he just... That was one of his moments of divine inspiration, and I just think... I think that hits me every time. I put it on, and I'm just like, you never give me your money.
It's one of those songs that sounds like it's just like in the consciousness. Like
it's
like when you hear it, you're like, oh, like he wrote that.
Yeah,
wasn't that just always a thing?
Yeah,
wasn't that melody just out there?
Yeah,
and then it's short
always
and
knew simple.
It somehow.
It's funny because and I'll bring this up a lot during this podcast. Because we talk about in like hip hop and modern production a lot, like beat switches or whatever. But the Beatles were doing beat switches and chord switches and the beat switches, and then they just had to shorten it
to the Rick Beatles.
But it's also got that bit at the end. It's got out of college, money spent, see no future, pay no rent.
Yeah.
And it's just it's that perfect dichotomy of like life where you're super angsty and insightful, and then But he's like a showman. It's like a little musical. Yeah, I love the showman. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. He's the Carnival Barker and John's the Elvis. Like it's he's your groovy Big Lebowski uncle.
But I considered putting that one on my list.
Hey,
I didn't, which actually makes for good content because I don't have to skip a song. but it was up there.
We'll have to, you know.
And it's also like any one of the suite. It's like, do you put like Golden Slumber? Or do you put
Put
The End? You know.
That's the thing. I'm kind of counting the whole
the whole medley. Yeah.
But you know, if the viewers, the Beatles and classic rock fans out there want us to do a full all Beatles songs list, we'll do it. Just please listen to Never Always.
That's right.
While we're listening to the Beatles,
there's a lot less work for you.
And it's a concept album. We swear it's very Beatlesy. It's as good as a Beatles album. I swear to God.
That's right. Yeah. We would know.
When we think about the Beatles a lot.
So should I get? I'm a pro. I have my list out at all times. Ooh, this is a great one. Happiness is a warm gun.
That was my number 4.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So skipping forward to my number 4, I'll put an X next to it.
Yeah, this is a great track.
I was just gonna say about the beat switches, like
yes,
that.
it has. It's its own little suite. It doesn't repeat anything.
That's pinnacle songwriting. Like if you're striving to be a songwriter, you gotta have one of those in your bag.
And it's just so. Like the humor is there.
The humor's there. The rock and roll is there. The poignancy is there.
The little fucking harmonies of bang bang shoot.
Yeah,
that's just so.
But it starts out with that wicked, decrepit. She's not.
Yeah, it's very minor.
It's very dark. It's very like. But it's all those basic
that's why
songwriting
it's the
elements.
release. It's like the euphoria of just having a fucking gun.
Yeah.
And you're like, is he playing Grand Theft Auto? 60 whatever.
And then it's about sex. It's about guns. It's about advertising.
Yeah.
It's about war. It's about all these like.
So good.
Yeah, that's John Lennon. Superior. John Lennon.
I think when I first heard it, it took me a moment to just, like, I kept going back to it and I go like, yeah, because that's like the fucking best song on the whole.
Yeah.
It's fucking...
Yeah, it's like, and when it doesn't repeat, you know, because like, let's take like...
You want to go back to the beginning and hear that dark section that doesn't repeat.
Because like, Radiohead's Just does the same thing where it's A minor and then the chorus is in C, but they do it again. And it's really that bridge that... Wah, 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 wah. I need a fix because I'm...
I even forgot about that part.
That's the meat of that song. The whole song is when he wah, 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 wah,
John
down.
goes low. He doesn't go... He's often in his high register, doing some cheap shenanigans with his voice. But when he goes low, it's like... There's some power there. I love that.
I literally can't play an A7 without starting to play that bridge.
Nice.
Like I have a problem where I can't write songs that start with A7. That's...
It's a monster of a track.
It's actually one of the few songs. It's such a good song that they couldn't get it wrong when they did it for that movie, Across the Universe.
I've seen little bits and bobs of that, but I haven't seen the whole movie.
I think I was like 15 when it came out.
I know. I think my family rented it on DVD from Blockbuster Video.
Love it.
Yeah.
Streaming services.
I'm not old.
No, I'm just living life.
I'm just living life.
Like John Lennon was, had to deal with VHS coming out or something.
Or maybe not. Let's not think about that too much.
We'll talk about the death of John Lennon on another podcast. Okay, so.
So I did Happiness is a Warm Gun. I don't know. I feel like we've sang its praises. So technically, what's your number 3? Because that was my number 3 and your number 4. So what's your number 3?
So my number 3, and I said this to you when we originally went, like, let's do a Beatles podcast, and I said,
that's right.
If I gave a computer my criteria for best Beatles songs, and I went grooviness, interesting lyrics, composition, blah, 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 I think that this song would come back as number 1. Not my pick, but like if I put in the stats.
You respect it.
The song is Savoy Truffle because it is such a fucking silly song with such a groovy meat to it that like when it comes on, like I don't think about it. I don't go like, oh, like the Beatles, Savoy Truffle. But when I put it on, I'm immediately green tangerine, Modelemo, like yeah, it's just you know. And I think George is one of the weirder because you know John and Paul are already filling in the
I remember
thing, so he gets to be weird
at his songs for this and go he's just trying shit.
He's
like, I only get one, maybe two.
Yeah, so I better.
So I'm just gonna do.
Out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do something.
Yeah, I don't want my song to be mistaken for a Paul song that he gave me to sing. Yeah. Like this is a George composition.
Yeah, we don't want to.
And I think you know I struggle with writing about anything other than love and stuff like that. Hell, I even struggle writing about like you know the issues that plague our world. But to write a song about how your friend can't stop eating sweets, that's the bag right there. Like, that's the good stuff.
Yeah. I feel like this is one of the songs. There's like an awkwardness to it. I think the term Savoy Truffle doesn't run off.
You don't like saying Savoy Truffle.
It's a little awkward. It's not, but it's groovy. It's definitely
way funky, way ahead of its time.
It's like a fully like some because a lot of George's stuff is kind of like sparse. Yeah, there's a lot of like back to the basics, but I've always been doing the basics.
Yeah, sparse production or composition, or
sparse
both.
Or you know, well, oftentimes
I think he's trying out the studio at that point
exactly,
for the first time.
I think Savoy Truffle is like. I respect it in that sense where it's George doing a lot of stuff in the song. As opposed to, like, I love long, but it's just little strum, we got the organ.
Yeah.
Is that it? Kinda. Yeah. And it's nice. But it's no Savoy Truffle.
That's what, and I'll get to this because I think long is on my list, but you know, back when we did,
I was staring at your list. Okay, that's why
back when people couldn't have bedroom recording, there was this.
And we got to thank Mr. Paul McCartney for that too.
Well, yeah, but you know, think about George Harrison being so much younger than they were, or not that much younger, but like young, and getting access to that technology. Like he's sitting there as a kid, basically. Around all the best recording material in the world, and he essentially gets to make some of the first bedroom pop records that are these simple songs that have this decent to good to whatever production. Just the fact that he was able to do it. And people don't think about that when they talk about the Beatles.
The legacy of the White Album.
They're just doing stuff. They were the first ones to do it. They just got to be first, and they did it the best in that era. Like, sorry, they're the best. Sorry.
What are other great triple? Or is the whole thing about the White Album? Are there 30 songs? Am I right about that?
27 or something. 30, 27.
It's like a triple album. That's crazy. So many songs.
So you tell us. So that's
all right. Yeah. So that's your number 3, and we've already done your number 4, which is my number. So my number 4.
What's crazy is I looked this up yesterday.
Oh, a classic. We got Eleanor Rigby.
Oh, thank God.
Eleanor Rigby. It's just got those great strings, and it's got a great melody.
No, you're right. 30.
Yep, that's all.
Trust Sam.
That is a long.
So Eleanor, a long.
Yeah. But Eleanor Rigby.
Mrs. Riggs.
Great song. I think there was one. I'm such a producer snob.
Yeah.
On the old versions, because they're doing dials and stuff on the mixing board for the master track. You hear when some guy turns it all the way, so the vocal goes like nope. Nope. Like it's like moving really quickly.
That's interesting.
And I'm like. Ugh. But then they did those.
They covered it.
They did those sort of remixes recently, and it's no longer there because I think they knew as well as I that was a big problem.
I'll have to listen.
Though if you listen to it in mono, ain't got no problem.
That's an example. Like when I talk about like songwriting, I don't mind simple chordature, but for there to be a simple song, the melody has to be so on point, the lyrics have to be so on point.
It's another one of those, like, the "Ah, look at all the lonely people" is just, like, such a... That melody is so...
Ba, 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 ba. Yeah.
I don't know. It's so elemental or something.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
And the great arrangement by George Martin, of course. Those fucking strings kill it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a song, it's a sentiment that deserves a big... Because I've made the mistake of being like, oh, this song isn't quite there, I'll pile some orchestra on it to give it significance. And it's like, it never works if the song isn't good enough. It just reveals its flaws more. And the fact that the orchestra there only reveals what a good song it is should be indicative of its power. And that's, again, when Paul McCartney gaining his confidence, really finding a thing that he wants to latch onto and finishing it in a complete thought. Because he has those moments more often than some people, I think, where the song's done right when it enters his head. Whereas I think John, he has those moments, but I think he has to work to get there more. But like Paul McCartney literally wakes up and has songs in his head. Yeah. So it's like, I think that's one of those where he's...
That's only happened. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had a dream song?
If I did, it's been hard to capture, and I've been trying to be better about capturing my thinking songs and just humming the melody into my phone. I'm such a builder. I construct songs. Yeah, exactly.
So I actually very rarely will have a song in mind. Yeah. Weirdly, but. Yeah, I think like maybe one time I would, but I don't think it fully happened. I think it was like one of those fleeting things where I was like, oh, that was a song.
That was it. Yeah.
And I think I kind of recorded some of it, but
That's the hardest part about lyrics for me is, because when I write the song, I'll sing all these really good lyrics and then I'll only remember the chords. I won't remember all that brilliant shit I said in the moment. Like, so which is why I hope...
I always do it last, so I'm never... I never have...
I'm theater and he's painting.
That's true.
Because I write songs a lot, like, very, like, Pollock-esque, where, like, something bad has to happen to me, and I'll, like, come home, and I'll need to express it with a guitar. And it's, like, sometimes those are just shitty songs, and sometimes it's like, oh, I really did something there. But yeah, hopefully, now that we have the studio, I can capture more of my good lyrics, because I can just be jamming right into it.
Just be jamming.
Into a thing.
Just have the mic roll.
Who's texting me? Nobody texts me. Oh, it's my beloved aunt. But yeah,
the aunt break in the middle of the...
Eleanor Riggs.
Eleanor. So that was my numero 4.
Numero 4. So we're on to my numero 5 because my numero 4 was Happiness is a Warm Gun. Yeah. One of the original production miracles of our time. So my number 5 is Drive My Car. That song is a banger. It is a the definition of a Beatles banger. It's Paul firing really hard. I think John helped out a lot with the lyrics. Just in that...
there are some of those tracks where they are truly...
Yeah, it's one of those collaborative Lennon-McCartney tracks, which I think is another reason why it belongs on the list. And honestly, when I play it, because we work with kids, I've played a lot of songs in front of the children. Drive My Car, still, to this day, gets them going. Because they'll respond to, like, 80s power pop or modern trap or whatever, but, like, timeless songs just get you going. And I think Drive My Car is perfect lyrically, great melodies, great recording, great energy, great live recording. You'll see this with my list. I'm more into when the Beatles are playing together. I think not that I don't love the production and stuff, but I think even on some of the songs where it's like more produced, I think you can tell when they're all invested in the song instead of just playing on the song. And then there's when they play together, and I think that's...
Yeah. Because I think a lot of my picks are going to be a lot more like stereotypical good Beatles things. Though this is a
but that's the thing, because you're just more into the production and and you literally can access all that harmony and be like, oh, that's interesting. Whereas I'm just an idiot who's going like, dunk, 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 dunk.
Well, it's got. Am I mistaken in remembering? There's heavy use of cowbell in this, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah,
it's got that. They want the cowbell.
The kids love the cowbell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and also it's John, because he said he had like all the chords and he had the song, but he said the lyrics were terrible, and it was like diamond rings or something. Like there was something that he was trying to do lyrically, and John's the one who came in, and apparently to them it's a song about California and limousines and like stuff like that.
Maybe like a car, like because like Beach Boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they're I don't know, but like they're living in England. Like there aren't. I'm sure they have fancy them, cars and like, stuff, but like to them it's basically like, a Western movie.
Blew me out again.
Right.
I guess I'll stay inside and write a bunch of songs
about how I wish life was. But also, I think it's an allegory for Paul's first relationship with Linda Eastman, or not Linda Eastman, whoever the one was.
Isn't Linda Eastman the one that he?
Who's the redhead who he wrote Martha, My Dear about? Jane Asher.
Martha Dear.
Jane Asher, who was a famous actor, and a lot of those early Paul songs are about Jane.
Yeah.
And that's one of them, I think. But yeah, I don't think I need to make an argument for Drive My Car. Yeah,
they're one of the few that I remember when I was a young lad getting into the Beatles. I was like, there's a full Wikipedia entry for every song.
Yeah.
And no other artist
has that. Unless you're the best band.
Yeah, it's like there's just an art you can click on and you're like, I'm gonna learn about
it's fun learning about the Beatles.
Any song.
I'm pretty sure I watched Mask of the Red Death.
This day and this hour and these takes we used. They know people have done so much.
We have
research.
the paper towel that he wrote the lyrics on.
That's right.
All right, we're halfway. We're humming along.
Drive My Car. What's my numero 5? Come Together. I'm a big fan of John, it seems.
Yeah, I think I'm realizing why everyone, because I'm a huge Paul McCartney fan, but John just writes the rockers.
He writes those rockers. Yeah, Come Together. I think it's one of those songs that somehow transcends. It's like extremely basic.
Yeah, because it's on all levels. The band's in it, the lyrics in it. It's when he's obsessed with advertising, so the writing is like really clear.
It's just like the sound of that bass, those tom, like everything. Like his just going like
yeah. Well, that's
such a weird. It's just like, why would you do that? But it works perfectly, and it's so iconic.
And it's such a good example of Paul McCartney coming in and just taking some rocker that John is writing and turning it into a full song. Because he's doing a ripoff. I'm sure you know this, of Chuck Berry.
Oh yeah. I mean,
always flat top line. Yeah. But like you said, the and the bass, like and it's written for Timothy Leary, so it's like. It's another, again, like John Lennon being able to write to commission. If someone walked into a room and write a Lerner and Lowe piece, he wouldn't be a natural at it, but he'd sit there until he got it right to his satisfaction. And it's like, Come Together is just, I mean, that's a Beatles song where you hear it so many times on the radio, in commercials, blah, blah, blah. Its effectiveness is
people have
paramount.
Yeah.
So, and that bass line.
And that's hard to do.
Because
it's just the simplest thing that you do on any guitar.
But that groove.
It's just
which is good that Paul has a writer like John,
but
to have to come down to earth and write those.
Yeah, it's such a.
Paul's like, how do I make this interesting to myself? Because I'm over here writing Tin Pan Alley music. Like
the symbol.
Not to talk about, because Obla Di Obla Da is not on the list, but like I'm sure you've heard that story where Paul McCartney tried to record it like 100 different ways.
It's one
and
of
then
those songs,
John Lennon came in and was so pissed off and high that he was just like, "You should play it like this." Bam, 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 bam. And Paul McCartney was like, "Thank you for stripping down my song to its essential elements. Like, that's your job.
Yeah.
My job is to be up here." Yeah. What more can you say about Chum Together?
It's just one of those songs. And the Beatles have a bunch of them, which is why we're talking about it.
Yeah, no, a lot of John Lennon's like very direct songs are making those. We should we should do a million of these. And we should do one that's classical Beatles versus rock and roll Beatles versus weird Beatles.
Yeah, there was that compilation that came out a while ago.
That's why I'm glad you
the
played
Beatles rockers.
Yeah, because now that everything's a Spotify playlist.
Hard, yeah, exactly. And it's hard to. There's a lot of disparate sounding songs in that thing. Because there's there is the proto-metal of Helter Skelter.
Yes. Oh my god, how did I miss Helter Skelter?
Yeah, Helter Skelter is one of those that should be at least mentioned in the video.
Yeah, let's mention Helter Skelter.
Very influential, obviously.
I mean, Dig a Pony didn't even make the list for me. I have a list of all my alts.
Yeah, I came up with a list of 20, and then very quickly before this, you were like, let's do a top 10, because that actually...
That's a thing people read.
That's a thing people read. And let's not just talk about 40 songs right now.
Yeah. I was thinking of doing...
Helter Skelter. I got blisters on my fingers.
Yeah, honorable mention to Helter Skelter and Dig a Pony right now.
Yeah.
Just,
I got lost. What are we...
I think I'm on my number 6.
Okay.
Which, now I'm worried. Because again, my list, for the listeners, I'm trying to be fair to all the Beatles, because otherwise I would have just put 10 John songs on here.
I might have just accidentally done that.
Yeah,
I actually, because we were talking about this, I tried to put George songs on there.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I was like... I'm not a huge fan of his two, huge something and Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah, something's fine. It's like
they're fine. They are iconic in their way.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But I don't think they are.
They're not indicative of the Beatles and their raw power. Raw power is what the Beatles are.
They're not. They're just not my cup of tea.
That's the thing. I think what people forget about the Beatles is how much their sound and legacy is based in being sexy and sex. And we think about the Beatles after all the classical music and after all the Hello,
that's where
Sunshine or whatever. But
people love
originally the songs. Yeah, originally the songs are about John Lennon being jealous. All those early Beatles songs are John Lennon being horny or jealous, and it's like...
He's like, I'm already married.
Yeah. And
this sucks.
But then later Beatles is... Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. She's leaving home, blah, blah, blah. But then...
That was almost on my list.
Even when we get back to Why Don't We Do It in the Road, I Want You, blah, 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 the best Beatles music is generally going to be about fucking. Is my humble opinion.
Why don't we do it?
And maybe I have to bleep out the F word. I don't know how many F words.
I don't know.
But anyway, okay, sorry.
How does YouTube work?
So my 6th is a George song. I do really love this song.
Yeah, that was all just a preamble.
This was a preamble to why I'm leaving certain songs off the list. But I love I Me Mine. I love how he wrote it in the Get Back documentary. I like waltzes personally.
Me too.
I think compositionally it's really interesting, and I think it still has the Beatles rock and roll in it when they break it down.
For sure.
Me, mine. And that's an example of them still doing really interesting vocal stuff within a new framework. And you can even see in the documentary, you can see him playing it. He plays it for Ringo, and they all walk around and go, "Oh, what's this?" Because it's...
If I were gonna pick a George song, it might be... This is in the top couple.
The upper echelon.
Yeah, for sure. This is a good George one.
But go listen to I Me Mine again, because I think... Let It Be is definitely in my I really like that record. I like that one and like A Hard Day's Night, I think are like really tight, straightforward. Not that I don't love the White Album, but like that's a good song for that record because I think Let It Be has a ton of interesting diversity, and I think it fits well into that record. But anyway, I don't have much more to say about I Me Mine except if you're a new Beatles fan, go listen to it.
Number 6.
Your number 6.
Oh, and on keeping with the Let It Be, this is one of my favorites from that record, Two of Us.
I think we should do a cover of Two of Us.
Oh, it's so hot in here.
Is it?
Too hot for this camera.
Oh yeah, we're back because the camera overheated, I guess. I didn't know cameras could still do that.
Yes, they can, and they do.
But I guess it's hot in the studio. We don't notice because we just got an air conditioner.
Well, we're making such hot.
Yeah, we're always
music.
hot. I've always got sweat on my back because I'm just working so hard. I'm like the Paul Bunyan of guitar. So you
we
were
should
on...
put that on a t-shirt.
I'm
It's
the
like
Paul Bunyan of guitar.
It's just your head.
Well, let us know if you'd
planted.
buy that. 'Cause no reason to do something unless there's
Unless
money
people
in it.
give us money.
World's a dark place.
I think we were about to
Two of
talk
Us.
about Two of Us.
And I had just said we should do a cover of that.
And I was about to say that I think I like that song a lot because it's Two of Us. It's like him reminiscing about him and his best friend John going around and having the youthful dreams of youthful youth and being in a songwriting partnership. So I can kind of get down with that now.
I do. There are some songs where I'm like, that's so cute. Like that's like me and Sam. Like, Sam and I. That's like
Me, myself, and Irene.
A film I think I've never made it through.
I think I saw it at summer camp when I was like a kid or something.
But yeah, speaking of like bedroom Beatles, that like the acousticness of that song.
Yeah, I really like the acousticness of that song.
It really
and it's
gets
also
captured.
got, and this is so. In my struggle to add a George song, there's that. I think there's that other song on Let It Be, For You Blue, right?
Yeah.
It's got that tasty. He's doing like tasty slides.
Yeah, he's doing the slides.
And it's real nice on that record, and it's real nice on this song.
So what I like about, or what I think happened with Two of Us, is it's in the documentary where essentially John's not going to take the time to learn a bass part because he's, I love John, but he's a lazy and he's got ADD.
I'm sleeping.
Yeah, I'm sleeping right now.
I told you years ago, I'm only sleeping.
And clearly the recording sessions are breaking down at this point, and Paul's just trying to get a song out, and so it's one of the last songs they record together as the Beatles, if not the last song, and it's, John's on another acoustic guitar.
Well, so here's the question. Because I know all of the Let It Be stuff, but they recorded Abbey Road after that.
But that was scrapped together from all the stuff that they had done.
I felt like they weren't all in the same. Whatever.
Don't quote me on any of this.
Okay.
But it's because I don't have the data right here.
Impression.
Yes. Is that, but essentially the reason it is so broken down is because they're rushing to do it, and Paul's just like, okay, I'll just grab an acoustic, and you can be on this, and you can be on this, and
he's trying to meet the deadline.
Yeah, and then I think they did 4 takes, and I think it's like the second or third take.
I don't care about deadlines.
I'm rich now.
Yeah. But get my hat.
But it's essentially just one take that they did together. Very rundown acoustic little... gorgeous little
song,
captured the moment right there.
Yeah.
Very Lou Reed style. So what are we on? Oh, I'm on number 7, which I'm worried about. Because basically it was between Dig a Pony and I Want You.
She's so heavy.
She's so heavy. And
yeah, I think I don't know if I had really made it through this one a few times, but then you mentioned your love of this to me
really?
A while ago, and I went back. I was like, oh yeah, this one is like it's super heavy.
Yeah,
like,
rocks.
it really rocks.
Yeah,
like, I think I remember like the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Isn't quite, and then it like builds to this like
that's
big
yeah
thing, and I was like, oh shit, why did I forget about this? This
it's
is
another
great.
Beatles being a band that I really like about it. And like I love Dig a Pony, and it's great lyrically.
Pygmy
by Charles Hawtrey and the Deaf Heads. But it's just like when I want a woman or want to be in love or I'm feeling there's nothing more you can say. And it's just that emotion. It's just like, and the reason it beat out Dig a Pony.
Desire.
Yeah, the conundrum of being a stupid thumping.
Yeah,
like,
stupid conundrum of being a stupid thumping.
Being a stupid man. No, but it's like, it's a beautiful song and it's a beautiful life we live, and I think it's a lot of these songs that I've picked are ones where he just gets directly to the meat.
That's a good one.
And then the whole band plays, and it's got that Latin groove. I love it when the Beatles go Latin, and a lot of my music is very quote unquote Latin because I don't know shit about anything. But
of the Romance languages.
I took Spanish in high school, but that's my number 7. I'm shocked that we haven't picked more of the same tunes.
We've got. Oh, I guess this is a semi-controversial pick. This is Across the Universe, which I've always been a fan of.
I'm a huge fan of.
And then I feel like I've heard some sort of, maybe because of the Let It Be sessions and how they went with like it was like changed a lot.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
because of Phil Spector.
Phil Spector went in, but then again, I think that was more on like McCartney's side, being dissatisfied with that. I also
he was dissatisfied with the recording?
Yeah. That's why he did Let It Be Naked.
Right.
Where he's like, this was just the back to the basics. Why we gotta get rid of those strings? We gotta get rid of those choirs. We gotta get rid of that great production.
The reason I love that is because it reminds me of Frank Churchill and Gordon Jenkins, two of the original American composers, and I love that type of harmony and that type of orchestral movement.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's pulling out all the stops in a good way.
Yeah,
I like the crazy children's choir, the vocal treatment they're doing, the sort of like wah wah echoing wah 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 with guitars it's creating an atmosphere, and I'm imagining the universe. And
John's breaking up with his wife.
Yeah,
why do I have to be with you when we could go across the universe to Yoko? Who I love. Here's my stance on the Beatles and Yoko. Yoko Ono kicks ass, rocks, writes good songs, is dope. I don't know. Yeah. She made mistakes like humans. She's a human, but I think I like her art. I like Born in a Prison. I like Sister Oh Sister. I like a lot of her songs. And I don't think it was her fault that the Beatles broke up. I think that was kind of inevitable.
I think.
So don't come here with your Yoko bad takes.
Yoko, oh yes.
Yoko, oh yes. We're calling this the Oh Yes Beatles podcast.
That's right.
Because
coined in this moment.
In this very moment. But to bring it back to us, hi, we're Trick Flower, we're in a band, we love music. Is we modeled, or at least I modeled.
You're a great model.
What's the one off Chord Coutrement? I'm getting used to you, never being here.
Step Inside.
Step Inside. I modeled the songs.
Your song. Step
Inside. There are songs, because like, I feel that I let...
But at the same time...
That is one that came directly out of my...
The lyric.
Cranium, yeah. But I modeled that, the production of it gets real big.
Yes,
in the chorus, and that's intentionally modeled after Across the Universe. In my head. It's got the kind of bare bones acoustic verse, and then it gets real big, and that's intentional.
Yeah, there are, getting back to Across the Universe, there are like acoustic, like untreated versions.
Yeah, because they couldn't.
Those are very interesting.
Because John had already left the band,
no matter what.
So that's just his demos. They just had to take his demos and turn it into a fucking.
Yeah, because that's not in the. That's not in Get Back sessions, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's like
that's his home recording. That's like. That's literally, speaking of like... having enough money to start the bedroom genre in the 60s.
They're like, because like if you listen to any home tape recording from that era, they sound like absolute garbage.
Yeah, they're garbage.
So if it sounds anyway half decent, it's because they have expensive ass equipment because they're rich.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all I did in my bedroom on my, $20,000,
the roadies had to bring it on Average Tuesday.
So bedroom recording, still maybe not very accessible, but they are beginning that kind of thing, which is really cool. And that's a great song. And Phil Spector did a good job on that one.
I like Phil Spector's.
I listened to the Glyn Johns version of a lot of that record.
Glyn Johns.
Not as good.
Wait, we'll talk about Glyn Johns.
Glyn Johns.
He's fun in Get Back too. Man, I could just watch that shit all day. But
an American.
You don't say. Yeah, they're obsessed with America. They're like, let that American in here and we'll run all our ideas by him. That's why he liked Alan Klein, is because he was like, he wears big rings and has a cigar like an American.
Me.
What are we talking about?
So your number, are you on 7 or 8?
I'm on 8 now.
Oh shit!
So that means
we might finish this before
we're moving along. People are already asleep or they just woke up.
We've got great voices.
Very soothing voices.
We like to sing with them too, but we don't now.
I sing like a teacup made out of a flower.
A trick flower. It's a trick.
It's a tricky flow. But anyway, this is an uncontroversial pick. A basic but not... No, basic... I'm making basic bitch good thing. This is a basic bad bitch pick. It's Oh Darling. The single...
Oh Darling is
greatest...
on Abbey Road?
Yeah.
Okay.
The single greatest crooner...
He can really belt.
And he...
John
just
opens up.
Said that he should record lead vocals for that. He was like, we should do it old school and I should do that. And
John said he should do it.
He said he should do it. And Paul took such offense to that he stayed up late making his voice sound rough and awful.
Yeah, because you like John Lennon, all the way back to the beginning, John Lennon on Twist and Shout.
Yeah,
he can.
He can do
get
it.
The blood. Hurtling
so
there.
that's Paul. Proving something.
But Paul.
And you can hear
Paul
it.
has a great voice.
He's got a great voice,
and he's very versatile and
extremely.
Can do that as well, and did do that and good job.
And he absolutely nailed that kind of song, because that's what I like about the Beatles. I like that you can tell that they grew up on crooners. Mm-hmm. And at that point, because you had to be so old to get into the record, not like you didn't have to be old, but there was less recorded material, so you would try to build a long career, and all these guys by the time the Beatles were alive were kind of older, and they were listening to it's
about the voice, it's about singing classic songs, and he did a great version of that song,
right. And so I think he just wrote that was just in his head as the genre that he grew up on, and he really... It happens where you pinnacleize that genre even though you weren't a part of it, but because you have all the information in your young cortex, he spit out a great song, and it's just a powerhouse, and I think anyone can listen to that song, Beatles fan or not, and just be like, that's the bag. I'm going to wrap it up.
It's a fun one.
I'm gonna eat it. No, there's nothing to say about Oh Darling, because it nailed it, and you know why. It's not like I have to justify it like Savoy Truffle. It's just Oh Darling.
You don't have to. You don't have to. So am I on number 7 for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is Get Back.
Whoa, that's a kick-ass song.
Get Back's a kick-ass song. Get Back. Lean. That's one of the few songs where it doesn't really matter what version you're listening to. If you do listen to the Let It Be Naked version of it, it's just it's all just performed. The band doing a great performance. Let's hope the battery doesn't get exhausted again.
Well, let's not exhaust the issue any longer and just say our favorite songs.
We've got so many witticisms.
You want to hear all our quips.
Right, so I just said Get Back. We were talking about Get Back.
What number is that?
That was 7 for me.
7. Oh yeah, but we're on Get Back. Like did we talk about it?
I feel like we were interrupted a little bit.
Yeah.
So maybe just for safety, we talk about it again.
Oh great! No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, I was only going to say
it's the title track.
Everyone's seen it. It's a song that he literally wrote because John Lennon wasn't coming into work on time, and he was going deadlines, and he literally just goes dun 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 and makes it, and then John walks in. But what I was going to say is I like when the Beatles do politics, because I feel like if you're going to be political, it helps to have an appropriate sense of humor about it. And to kind of reveal the bad politic for what it is. And so the fact that he's talking about immigrants and talking about himself and has this kind of universal thing, but it's clearly a song that's based on the news about recent immigration policies in England. And so I think that it's
I'm learning something new.
One of the ways that you talk about politics in music is having a healthy dose of attitude and sarcasm to it. You can't just go like, this is bad. That's preaching. That's not songwriting. And it's hard to find the balance, especially as you get to the point in your songwriting where you're like, and
I care about stuff.
Where you're like, I care about stuff and I have stuff I have to say.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of artists, from Kid Rock to Liz Phair, do it wrong.
And even Neil Young, you could argue a little bit. Monsanto! And you're like, you're right, Neil, but also, not a good name for a song.
Yeah. Like, you needed more time in the train room with that one. Neil Young.
Let's workshop a little bit.
If you know.
Love you, Neil.
Love Neil. Hope you're happy with Daryl. Or whatever her name is.
We love Get Back. I love the tasty keyboard licks by the real Fifth Beatle.
Yeah, Billy Press. The Prestonian, man. I consider him the 6th Beatle because George Martin's the 5th Beatle.
Yeah. I just, in a weird way, he's one of the band at that point. Like, truly, in a way that, like, so in a weird way, he literally is the 5th Beatle.
Yeah.
And then George Martin, who's the real 5th Beatle, becomes the 6th Beatle.
I love it.
But then again, there's so many 5th Beatles.
There's so many 5th Beatles. That's our next video, the 5th Beatle. So all of you Beatles fans.
I love Get Back, as do we all.
And that's number what?
That was number
doesn't matter.
7.
How'd you skip 8?
Well, you had a song that was on the
right.
same list.
So my number 9 was Long, but I'm changing mine. It's number 9. It's number 9.
Oh, it's never been done.
It was Long, but after I changed it.
We talked about
mid-list.
Long.
We did. We've talked about it.
We love it.
But another banger. When you picked 2 of us, I had to pick this one. I've Got a Feeling.
I've got a feeling.
It's a perfect combination of John
the
and
thing
Paul.
is, do you really think there can be a Black Eyed Peas song on a Beatles list?
This is why this video is so long.
From the Beatles to the Black Eyed
Feeling. Oof.
It's high. It's high. Yeah, but, you gotta get into your Matt Berninger. Just sing, like this, mumble into it.
But I think that in terms of pop music, I think it's one of the first like rap-ish vocal breaks in pop music. Like I know that we had like slow down and talk about it music and like but that when John Lennon comes in,
what does he do?
Hits him with everybody's got a hard year.
Oh yes.
Everybody had a good time. Everybody put their foot down. Everyone pulled their socks up. Like he just keeps doing. Everybody had a wet dream. Everybody saw the sunshine. It's that classic long arms full of short logs.
That's a good one.
Like
and it's good. It's a good like live song.
It's a good live song. It's got that power pop chorus.
Performing in the studio.
Yeah,
they're having fun. And those little couplets, those little everybody had a...
Yeah.
You could use just spitballing, and there are certain ones that stick.
Yeah, because there's sometimes John and Paul write with each other, and they write for each other and to each other, and that's one where they kind of just left space for each other to be themselves, and I think collectively it makes for a better song, and I think it's just a banger. It just goes off. It's real well recorded, and you gotta love that. Yeah, that's music right there.
That's fun.
So that's number.
That's a good one.
9 for me.
Poor George.
Poor George getting long.
Getting down on the list again. All right. So my number 8 is. Oh, this is
do your 8 and 9.
Oh, okay. Well, they do kind of go together.
Okay,
there's Strawberry Fields Forever, which is probably the best Beatles song.
Yeah, that's
it's boundary pushing. It's got just a lot of interesting shit going on. It's got the weird, like, they had to like slow down a part to match.
Yeah,
so
I like that. And John just went, slow down. Just put them together.
Yeah. Just put them together.
You do it.
Figure it out.
I'll go home and eat and smoke and do heroin and have sex with Yoko Ono. And you figure it out.
They're like, that is why I wear a suit every day, John.
I'm the guy who figures it out.
It's a great song. I think it's the song that ruined Brian Wilson's life, weirdly.
Yes.
I think that's he listened to it in the car or something.
Yeah, on the highway.
And then he was like, no, they did it. And I'm like, no, just really smile. Just do it.
That's actually how I felt about Brian. No, but they already did the doobie-doos and the burgers. So I can't do it anymore. I have to make more songs.
We're just going to whisper into the mic for Smiley Smile.
Yeah,
but I love the song.
I want to smile too.
I mean, I feel like we are lucky to have as much as we have of Smile.
That's true.
There's a lot of it out there.
Yeah, we were born way past the point that people had to suffer about the myth of Smile.
Yeah. We're like, I just like Wonderful. I just put it on my playlist. It's a great song. It's wonderful.
If I only had a little pad in Hawaii. But yeah, that's like great pick. Another one where
it's another like classic pick. Like I think a lot of people would go like, this is on the list.
But there's a reason. I keep picking songs where he's being like lyrically simple, but that's one where he's being like lyrically complex and like really searching for something. And I think the music accompanies that searching.
It's got so much. It's like the percussion. There's like the toms and like the horns.
It's good.
The string, it gets like heavy and like because it's so pretty at first, but it really, sort of goes into a darker side of like.
I never put that on, but I'm gonna have to go listen.
It's a good one. It's a good one. And then of course my other one, A Day in the Life. Another sort of, you gotta pick a day in the life, and I did.
I haven't listened to that one.
A Day in the Life. I like it. It's a John verse. John started it, and then McCartney
woke up, got out of bed, grabbed a comb across my head. I love that one. Yeah. A little precursor.
And then the John one is like, I heard the news today, oh boy. And then it has the huge crescendo bit with the wow. It feels like a really cool, epic.
Which they pull that song apart on Love, the album, the Cirque du Soleil album.
I love Love.
Love is great. We'll talk about Love.
Love is.
If you want to listen to a weird Beatles album,
weirdly it has like the definitive version of some Beatles songs.
Yeah, if you're a Beatles fan and you haven't listened to Cirque du Soleil's Love, it's quite the listen.
Yeah, I mean like the recent remixes did help a lot with it. I think. But there's like, you get rid of the little nitpicky stuff with like the Eleanor Rigby moving of dials kind of stuff. But Love has got some really good stuff. And then they still haven't done fucking Magic Mystery Tour.
Yeah.
But like still just terrible.
That's one of the reasons I love like Glass Onion and like Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except Me and My Monkey, which barely missed the list. But what
is it? Come on.
Yeah, come on.
That's a good one.
Come on. I love that one. Come on, let's make it easy. Yeah, come on, it's such a joy.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Yeah. That's a rocker. That's a cool, weird, interesting rocker. I like the White Album because he was trying to make basic rock and pull it apart like Play-Doh.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of try to do with my songs. But with other genres. But what song did you pick?
It was A Day in the Life is what we're talking about.
Right. Okay, so there's a Little Britain sketch, where I'm sure I've told you about it, where they're pretending to be Blur, and someone goes like, you should do what the Beatles did. And they're like, the Beatles, everyone thinks the Beatles are so great, I can do that. And he picks up a newspaper and he goes, I read the news today, oh boy, 12% off at Langingham's for meats and pies. Like, and they just do that for 3 minutes because it's comedy.
Yeah.
And most of it has no conclusion.
That's...
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
So is it time for my number 10?
Yeah, if there's anything else we want to... I think, A Day in the Life...
You can hear the story. It's the story where they combined the two songs and they literally told George Martin put it together.
Well, you guy.
My dear.
I don't know if there's enough dragging in this song.
Or tits. But he handed the orchestra a piece of paper that had, one key to the next key, and he just drew a wiggly line. And then drew like a straight line.
And all the instruments, I think he told them, all the instruments are just going up to their highest point that they can.
To the next key.
And so I think some instruments just stop because they literally can't go any higher.
Oh, that's so funny.
And so they're all out of sync. It's not like...
Yeah.
So it's just this crazy... Yeah, it's great.
I heard someone say cacophony the other day.
Cacophony.
I was like,
that's a great name. Cacophony.
For a cat or for...
I don't know. Yeah, Cacophony the cat would be good.
Cataphony?
Like all comic kind of thing. Caterwaul.
But yeah.
Caterwaul and cacophony.
Caterwauling.
There we go.
Yeah. Caterwauling.
You've seen it here.
But yeah, that song's very famous. It's right when they had a ton of fucking money, so it's very big.
I think that's part of it is it's luxurious.
Yeah, it's as luxurious as the fur.
Because they're gonna go full White Album next. They're gonna go like,
oh, let's be minimal.
Yes. Which not bad.
No, but yeah,
but it is nice when you're pulling out of the stops.
That's what's so great about the Beatles. They wrote so many songs within so many different phases of a decade-long time span, and so you can really look at these. And I think for mine, I'm kind of going for like raw Beatles and like them firing together, and you're kind of going for like production marvels and like not that there's not crossover, but like. That just shows the breadth of the Beatles is how they can be both bands. And I think that's why they've lasted so long is because they are a rock band, but they're also a very ahead of its time studio act. Uncontroversial opinion. But you got to appreciate it.
You're telling me you like the Beatles?
I dare I say I love the Beatles.
Crazy.
So, with my love...
Did you get to yours?
My number 10 was a 3-way tie, but I picked one.
Okay.
Between Wild Honey Pie.
That's a great one. When I was like a young teen, like going through the Beatles, and they went through this like flower powder or psychedelic kind of stuff, and like you hear I'm like, that's what it was. But that was the most psychedelic they ever got. Yeah. It's just him bending the fuck out of those strings.
Yeah, they didn't put it on the album unless one of their friends said it was cool. Yeah,
I do fucking love that song.
I already forget.
I love how it's also just completely unrelated to the other Honey Pie.
Yeah,
they're so just not. Honey Pie almost made my list. It made my top 20.
Yes, Martha, My Dear, and Honey Pie. Yeah. Great Paul songs. But yeah, that's it's connected in the sense that he's writing about a woman's honey.
We'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. But the song, my number 10, the song that always makes my Beatles honorable mentions, other than Wild Honey Pie, is Ringo's own "Don't Pass Me By."
Okay.
Because
we love Ringo.
We love Ringo.
He's such a great guy.
But it is just...
And he's a good drummer.
Oh, yeah, he's
Good drummer.
Top 10 drummer. Lefty.
Yeah, that's why he can do the classic
all those weird fills
stuff
and all that.
Yeah. He couldn't.
But there's an interview.
There's something that changed.
Where they go, someone's asking John and Paul, like, oh, do you have, like, new songs ready? Like, what's up on the next LP? And they very sarcastically and jokingly look at each other and go, yeah, don't pass me by, and then break out laughing. And that's when they're in, like, Beatles 2, Beatles 3, they're still really young. By the time the White Album rolls around...
Wait, Don't Pass Me By is that old?
It's that old. Because
they were just like, yeah, whatever, like, we're doing this giant album.
We're doing this giant album. But I also think... that year after year after year, as they were thinking about the...
All right, we were talking about...
Hi, we were talking about Don't Pass Me By.
I think
that over the years, as they got older and really asked themselves what songwriting is, they were like, of all the songs Ringo wrote, Don't Pass Me By is a real jam. And I love the toy gunshots in it and the dong-dang. Like, I really like Don't Pass Me By, like, because it's such a dumb, simple song. I love it. It's don't pass me by, don't make me cry. Like, come on, don't pass me by, don't make me cry. I just I think that John and Paul love Ringo's Don't Pass Me By. I think Ringo is the dad of the Beatles. George Martin's the granddaddy, or
He was older.
But yeah, he was older. He was the cool one.
A drummer.
And as they
changed his name.
They did all that psychedelic stuff, and then they went like, well, what's a real song? What's a true, honest, simple song? And then they were like, I think it's Don't Pass Me By. I think they put that song on the record because they didn't have to at the White Album's point, but like, whether to keep the visage of the Beatles by having a Ringo on it, or I think when it comes on, I don't skip, and I want to say that for the record. When it comes on, my body goes like this.
That only Ringo can get.
Yeah,
because he's not John, he's not Paul.
He's Ringo.
And you know that whenever he's on there, it's like a gift to
Ringo.
And they love Ringo.
Ringo, it's your birthday, and we're in the studio. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a song full of love,
and it's like in like a weird way because.
And I don't like Octopus's Garden.
Me neither.
I like Don't Pass Me By.
In the Shade. Yeah.
Nailed it.
But Good Night, a John Lennon song, to be fair, but sung by Ringo. In this,
wow, how did Good Night make this list? Is that your top 10?
No. It was in my top 20. I did take it out from my top 10, but it's in my top 20.
This is why we need a top 20.
I love Good Night, and you're right because he's the dad of the Beatles. So John Lennon is just like weirdly. He's got this barrier. He can't say that he loves his child so plainly, but having the dad of the Beatles sing it, and also as like we love Ringo. Like it doesn't matter that he can't sing really well. He's our dad. He is.
Yeah, we love it. Exactly. It's like when your dad sings the favorite song.
Exactly.
And you're like, my favorite version of Old Man River is actually the one my dad sings.
And with that,
wait, you didn't do 10?
I did do 10.
With that,
we're done.
Our first podcast, we are done. Enjoy Beatles Mania.
It was about to be rolling and then it disappeared.